Hello, hello, hello. This is John Anthony Francis Wilcox, and today is Saturday, the 25th of 2024. Hope you're all doing well. Before I get into anything, when I have show and tell, I show and tell. I got this wonderful figure in today, and I'll explain it in a moment. Isn't that lovely? This character is Lum from a Japanese animated cartoon, which is my favorite Japanese anime, called Urusei Yatsura, which also means, loosely translated, those obnoxious aliens. So I had been saving up some change. I had my niece Jessie bring it in and change it for a slip for credit, um, for Amazon, and I ordered this. Although I was like 92 cents short or 93, something like that. So, good deal. I love Japanese figures and that. You ever looking for something to get me? You want to get me something? I know, let's not be ridiculous, but I love that kind of stuff. Anyway, so what went on this week? I got a call from my old boss, Barry Grossman, who I used to do a lot of color for. The majority of color I did, outside of, later on I did coloring for other people with that. But I ghosted a lot of color and did a lot of color for Barry on all kinds of stuff. So we had a nice talk because he said he was calling to wish me an early happy birthday because our birthdays are literally just a few days apart in June. And so we had a nice conversation. He was filling me in on what he'd been up to and was telling me he had a lovely conversation with Bob Bowling, with his daughter, I should say. And he said that Bowling is still alive and he's 92. For those of you who know or don't know, uh, Bob was one of the great Little Archie writers and artists. Brilliant. So that was nice to hear. And we talked for like an hour or so. That was a nice conversation. During the week, who else did I hear from? I heard from Daniela. I heard from Suzanne and Ari and Pete. Called me several times. Had a lovely conversation last night with my friend Mark. I talked to my friend Bob during the week, and also I should start off by saying, um, I talked on Sunday because Monday my dear friend Marcy was going in to have some knee surgery that evidently turned out okay. So wonderful. Heal up speedily, dear. And had communion brought in by Grace Mary on Thursday. Had some nice pizza last night from Joe's Pizza, which is the best pizza in Westport. That was an interesting thing I saw James Comey being interviewed, and he has a new like kind of spy suspense novel out called Westport. And I didn't know that he lived here. I don't know if he still lives here, but I know he lived here because I was mentioning it to Grace Mary. She said, "Oh, when she would bring her daughter to, I think, dance class, he was there with his daughter at dance class." So that was nice. And I noticed, like looking up, like the blurb on it, it mentioned, that some fictional organization called Saugatuck Association, which was, really kind of made me laugh because Saugatuck is sort of, it used to be the Italian section here in Westport, but it's near the Saugatuck, near the Westport train station in Saugatuck, which is heading towards Norwalk from here, for those of you who live in Connecticut. Anyway, so that reminded me of years ago. I can't remember the name of the novel, but I cracked up because my good friend Ron Goulart in like the 70s, maybe early 80s, but I think the 70s, did a novel, a science fiction novel, where these aliens were coming to destroy the Earth, and one of the places they started was Westport. And he was mentioning all these businesses and that were around at the time. I think he even threw in the names of a couple of cartoonists and such from the area. So I remember reading that, and that just was like cracking me up. So that was fun shared memories, intertwined memory with a new thingy. There you go. It's a thingy. It's a thingy day. So I was gonna go out yesterday, but I didn't because I wouldn't feel up to it. I think I'll go sit outside tomorrow for a bit. Um, Bunch of work done, and what else? Oh, a subject that has come up a lot lately has been a combination of stress and the good old days, to use that phrase. And I was having a conversation. I've had several conversations about both things this week. So let's talk about them a little. The good old days, it doesn't get more subjective than that. Right now, there are some kids, people of all ages, all over the planet that right now is their good old days. I suppose mine would be different stages. If I think back to my childhood, yes, there are things I miss. I think we mostly miss stores and food and things like that. Um, Here, Klein's and the Selective Eye and the Crest and the Big Top and who were they? The home of the Club Burger. They were just before Burger King, and their name will come back to Carol's. I remember Carol's. And the Club Burger was sort of the precursor to the Big Mac. Club Burger came first, I believe. And I used to love that kind of stuff. It was fun. It was fun to go with mom and dad and do all that. So, I have a fondness for that. But I think that what happens to us while we look back on the good old days is as you gain years and gain experience, you also gain negative incidents and things like that, and your life, everything piles up over the years inside of you, inside of your mind, and you think back to the simplicity of another time when you had not had as much life experience, so you had a less cluttered mind and certainly a lower priority mind as you do as an adult. And especially as you go on, like I think I deal with coping with disillusionment in most people that I know. Sad to say that, but I was looking at it, and I was looking at a photo I had taken in December, and I realized that since July of last year, I've only been out of Hales Court 3 times. I was out December the 12th, where I went out for about an hour, and then I think it was January 31st or the 30th, but I think it was the 31st to go to the doctor, and then toward the end of February to go to the burial of my oldest sister, Nancy. And that's the only times I've been out of Hales Court. People don't want to bring me anywhere. So, they know, but it's a choice. It's a choice people make, and it really bothered me, and sometimes it still bothers me. It's like, is it the wheelchair? Is it like, do people think disability is contagious? Or maybe they're embarrassed by it. I never really thought about that. Maybe I don't want to be seen with a crippled guy in a wheelchair. That could very well be. Or maybe they think it's too inconvenient. But I can't focus on that. I can't focus on negativity. That was a conversation I had online today with my wonderful and dear friend Leanna. And she asked, I said that today I feel more peaceful than I did yesterday, which is true. And she said, how? And I said, focus. And I said something else, but it was basically thinking beyond the situations that stress you, that bother you, because you have to. if you want to fill up your life with stress, for everyone, and the stress is different for everyone, there's more than enough to give you a stroke like I had 11 years ago, coming on the anniversary of that, in fact. Um, but I would recommend you not. Focus on, even if they're the smallest positive things, even if they're getting a little Japanese figure that you like. I think that's really cool. But whatever, read a book that you like, read a book you've always meant to read, listen to music you enjoy, or look for some new music. Find some time to focus on not focusing on stressful things. Um, it's one of the best pieces of advice I can give you because stress is the major killer of people. Even if it's not, I mean, yes, physically dying, but it's the killer of their will to live. Stress will drag you down, it will eat you up. You know, it's always there, it's always available if you choose to allow it. I would say to you, choose to not allow it. Focus on, be busy doing too many. I mean, I know we all have to work. Well, yeah, even though I'm disabled and retired, I still work on my website diligently and on other things and on maintaining my life, which is more work than I've ever discussed. Um, I've said to people how they told me back in 2021 when I went to the hospital that I was 3 days away from being dead. I've been close to being dead a lot of times. And I could very easily slip into a pattern that I'll be gone by this time next year. But I don't want to. There's much of life I want to experience. I'm not done. And I hope you're not either. So find the positive things that you need. That's a big piece of advice. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to get too heavy, um, but there it is. So watch some good films or TV. Like I said, listen to some good music. Go look at the clouds. Go look at the birds. Go look at the trees if you got them near you. Whatever you got near you, take a look. Uh, see the rest of the world from whatever way you can. So I love you all. Thank you all. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.